Life comes at you at many different angles, but the unique thing about life is that we can decide how we want to approach it. We get to decide, how do I want to live my life? When I start thinking about this journey that I'm taking, I'm doing self-reflections nonstop. I'm always thinking about, how can I better myself? How can I put myself in a better mindset to react better, to be more mindful, to be more engaging. And one thing that I found in myself is that my patience level has steadily increased over time. And what I mean by that is that I feel more in tune with who I am. I'm more methodical with my training styles. I don't like to go for 1 rep maxes all the time. I don't like to run as fast as I can all the time. I want to be smart with all my decisions, and to make sure that all the decisions I make can last me a lifetime. So I usually train with anywhere between 50% to 85% capacity at all times, and I try to live that nonstop in my life. And one thing about this whole for the long run mindset that I started thinking about is practicing patience. Patience is a very interesting topic because not everyone possesses patience, but everyone can build their skill at the amount of patience. And this type of patience can be taught in many different ways. One way I could think is my relationship with food. I always thought that snacks and desserts were the norm. It was to feed you. But until I learned more about how it affects your mood, I started trying to see how long I could go without a certain snack or a certain dessert. And as I tested this theory, I wanted to see, okay, can I go a day without having any dessert, or can I go a day without having any snacks? And then I find that testing the amount of days that I can go without something really strengthened my skill of patience. Having to forego having any snacks for a certain amount of time really built my skill level in how patient I was. I think another example of patience that I observe is during my runs, specifically outdoor runs, because I always see cars honking at each other, whether it's driving too slow or the light just turned green. I think in those few instances, those are okay for honking, but in the instances where you have more aggressive honking, I feel like that's a sign of someone that doesn't have the patience for the type of situation you're in. Speaking of running outside, another thing that I observe more often than not is trying to cross the crosswalks. Now, when you intend to cross any type of intersection that has lights, there typically is a button that you can press that activates and lets you know that you intend to cross. And a lot of times that I've seen while I'm waiting to cross, someone else would repeatedly press the button, and I'm not sure what the intention is, whether it's to speed up the process or they just have this nature to keep pressing the button. But I feel like it doesn't speed up the process at which it's your turn to cross. Like, you can press it as many times as you want, but the crosswalk won't change because you're pressing this button. And to think that you're pressing it, to think that you have that mindset that if I press it more frequently, that it'll change for me. I think that that's just a indication that you're not willing to wait your turn and putting control in your hands, because when you press it more, you feel like you had the power to change the crosswalk or something like that. And instead, you could have just pressed it a few times, maybe once, just to make sure that it registered. And then when it's your turn to walk, you can finally cross the street. There's also another thing that, I've noticed. It's hard to say where it stems from, but I feel like people who press repeatedly thinking that they're getting a different outcome, I feel like that's just delusional. This week was a low mileage week in comparison with other weeks, and I've really devoted more time to the gym. I've added the barbell incline bench press to a few of my workouts, and I'm finding that I've gotten stronger in the incline than a couple years ago. Like, I'm benching 185 for reps and not feeling any slight fatigue as a couple years ago, which is really surprising to see and really exciting that I'm progressing in my incline bench. That's something that I would have never thought would happen to me a couple years back. Alright, that's it for this one, and I'll catch you in the next one.